Good morning from Prudent Prosperity, Wednesday, October 1st. Here are 5 things you need to know today. Number 1. Stock futures are lower after 3 straight days of gains for major indexes as investors assess the potential impact of the federal government shutdown that started just past midnight. Dow Jones Industrial Average futures were down 0.3% recently after the blue chip index closed at a record high yesterday. Futures tied to the benchmark S&P 500 and the tech-heavy Nasdaq were down 0.4%. Gold futures were up 1% at $3,910 an ounce as some investors turned to the traditional safe haven. Bitcoin was at $116,500, up from an overnight low of around $114,000 and trading at its highest level in 2 weeks. The yield on the 10-year Treasury, which affects borrowing costs on all sorts of loans, fell slightly to 4.14%, while the U.S. dollar index was little changed. Number 2. The U.S. government shut down at midnight after Congress failed to pass a spending bill. Congressional Democrats said that any funding bill should restore healthcare spending that was cut in the Big Beautiful Bill tax and spending law, which passed earlier this year. While Republicans have congressional majorities, they need the support of a handful of Senate Democrats to pass procedural hurdles. The first shutdown in 6 years will result in some government offices closing and could delay the release of economic data, including Friday's eagerly anticipated report on the job market from the Bureau of Labor Statistics. Economists anticipate the shutdown will cause a moderate hit to economic growth, though the impact will become more significant the longer the shutdown goes on. Number 3. Shares of Nike are on the rise this morning after the sports apparel maker reported earnings and sales that were better than analysts expected. Nike's fiscal first quarter revenue rose 1% from a year ago to $11.7 billion, while analysts tracked by Visible Alpha had projected a 5% decline. The company's adjusted earnings per share came in at 49 cents, compared with the 26 cents analysts had expected. Nike is working to execute a turnaround under CEO Elliott Hill, who pointed out improvements in its North American wholesale and running business. We still have work ahead to get all sports geographies and channels on a similar path as we manage a dynamic operating environment, Hill said in a release. Nike shares, which through yesterday's close were down about 8% so far in 2025, were up more than 4% in recent pre-market trading. Number 4. Shares of Lithium Americas surged in pre-market trading after U.S. Energy Secretary Chris Wright said the U.S. government would take a 5% stake in the Canada-based company. In an interview with Bloomberg, Wright said that the move was necessary to help counter China's control of the lithium market. Wright said that the government would also take a 5% stake in the Thacker Pass lithium project in Nevada, which Lithium Americas is partnering with General Motors to build. Lithium is a key material used to make electric vehicle batteries. Lithium Americas shares were up nearly 40% ahead of the opening bell. Number 5. U.S. private employers shed 32,000 jobs in September, the latest sign that the labor market is in a serious pullback. That's according to data out Wednesday from Payroll processor ADP, which was far below economists' expectations of 51,000 jobs added. Private payrolls for August were also revised sharply lower to a loss of 3,000 after data initially showed a gain of 54,000. Despite the strong economic growth we saw in the second quarter, this month's release further validates what we've been seeing in the labor market, that U.S. employers have been cautious with hiring, ADP chief economist Naila Richardson said in a statement. And that's it for today.
If any of today's insights sparked a question or made you think about your own financial journey, don't hesitate to reach out to us. Let's take your next step together, strategically and confidently. And always remember, stay prudent, stay prosperous, make it a great day.